Welcome back to our lesson of UI and UX. In this lesson, we are going to learn about using strokes and also copying and pasting the appearance in Adobe XD. Well, obviously, when you are working with UI and UX and obviously making, let's say, changes on your UI, and also, well, when you're using a couple of software such as Adobe XD or let's say Figma, Sketch, whichever it is, well, that is like very essential. And obviously, if you've seen my previous lesson, you already know how you will be able to apply borders and strokes, okay, on your, let's say, UI or your, let's say, artboard, okay? So I'm going to give you an individual lesson of how you will be able to go through all of the tools and also how you'll be able to make changes on your, let's say, strokes, copy and paste it, and also make changes on it however you want, okay? And also I'm going to give you some variations, like almost all of the tools and almost all of the ways Adobe XD can help you to make changes on it, and also a couple of examples too. So without any further ado, let's just jump into the lesson where we are going to learn about adding in strokes and also changing the appearance of specific objects. So first things first, you can also like open up a new file and you can also use a previous one. If you want to start from scratch, just open up a new file. But if you want to like, let's say, make your own ones, or let's say open up an older one, you can open up the older one, okay? But as I'm gonna give you let's say a fresh start, so I'm gonna do is click on new file and it will open up a new interface for me with a new artboard. So first things first, I'm gonna do is, obviously make changes on it, like let's say change the orientation. And another thing what you're gonna learn about is zooming in and zooming out, which you can see, or like which you've seen on my previous lesson, which is Control 0, Control 1, and also Control 3, okay? So basically Control 0 gives you the whole view of all of the items which you have opened up on Adobe XD in one file, okay? And when you press on Control 1, it zooms in almost like 100%. When you press on Control 3, it's gonna give you a specific, view or specific zoomed up view of a specific item. Let's say if you have an object over here, click on that object and press on Control 3, and then you will get a specific result of it. But first thing I'm gonna do is press on Control C, Control V, Control V again. Let's say I'm gonna have 4 of these, okay? So as I have 4 of these, first things first I'm gonna do is make up my rectangle over here. So I'm gonna do is click on this rectangle tool or just press on R. What I'm gonna do is make up my rectangle tool. Now as I've made up my rectangle tool, now if I click on any of these other places, let me click on this, then you will see that it has like really, like not densely made, or the border is not that thick. So first thing, if you want to change colors, you have this color option. And if you want to like change the strokes, then you also have that option to do in Adobe XD. But first things first, you have to select the item. So the item in my screen is this rectangle. So I'm going to click on it, obviously select on this tool so that you will be able to select whichever item you want to like make changes on. Then let's say I'm going to do is make a bit of rounded corners. And I'm going to go down and then you will see that this border is selected. But in default, this border is not all the time selected. So I'm going to click on this border and then I'm going to have my border. Now, if you want to change colors, select on this tool, and then you will have this panel. From this panel, select whichever color you want, and then you can see the changes on my border of this specific item. Okay, now I'm going to go down a bit more. I'm going to select on this. You also have this hex key option. Okay, let's go over to our web browser and find out a code. Now, as I'm on my web browser, let's say I'm going to do is hex code for yellow. Hit on enter. Now as I have my hex code, I'm going to do is copy it, Control C, go over to Adobe XD. I'm going to just cut this off, press on Control V, hit on enter. Now you will see that it will basically give me the specific results, which you can see from over here. I'm going to cut it off, hit on enter, and I can see that my border is yellow in color. Okay, this is basically how the hex keys or the hex codes work, okay? Because each and every shades have a specific code. you can see from over here when I go through this panel, you can see the codes are changing because there are couple, let's say like hundreds of shades on a specific color. Okay, you just have to go through each and every one of those, and you can also select it by using hex, or you can also select by using this panel. You can also go through specific colors by using this option or this slider. You also have this opacity option. You can select on the ones. You can see the opacity is now changing. Okay, so now you know how you will be able to change colors. And then if you want to like use a tool which is called the pick color, you can also do that. You have to just press on I, or let's say L. Okay, if you press on it, you'll be able to select whichever color you want. Let's say I'm gonna do is make another shape over here. I'm gonna do is select on this fill, and from here I'm gonna select on this. Okay, but what if I want the same shade? I don't know which shade it is. Okay, I cannot go through each and every of the shades and find it exactly same. Okay, but what I can do over here is either copy the hex code of the specific color, or also what I can do is use the pick tool. Well, that is why the pick tool is over there. So I'm gonna select on it, click on my border, and I'm gonna select on this pick tool. I'm gonna select on this color, and I'm gonna have my specific color. But if I go through these, I will not be able to find out the specific color, even if I want to, because there is going to be like each pixel when you go through each of these, let's say points or pixels, well, it changes. Okay, so select the color. You can use it by pick tool. You can also use is copy it. Let's say I'm gonna do is select on this fill. I'm gonna do is 4D9878. I'm gonna do is Control C. I'm gonna go over to my border. I'm gonna select on this. You can see this is not the same, so I'm gonna cut it off. Press on Control V, hit on Enter, and then I have the specific color for this. Now, what if you want a thicker size of this border? If you want a thicker border, what you can do is obviously go through these tools. Okay. If you want to like increase the thickness, I'm gonna click on this over here. I'm gonna just cut it off. What I'm gonna do is type in the thickness. Let's say I'm gonna do is type in 30, hit on Enter. You can see the thickness has changed. Let's say from over here, I can also type in 100. You can see this will be like this. I can also type in 200. You can see the changes, or like how it changes when you change in the values. It also depends on the resolution of a specific item or a specific object on your artboard. Okay, so that it can like make changes on it or apply the border size or the border thickness. Okay, then we have is this dash. If you want it to be lined up or have some spaces and like obviously a couple of lines and a couple of distance on each and every one, but not filled, okay, just like this, then what you're gonna do is just click on this dash, and I'm gonna do is type in 2, hit on Enter. You can see that I have spaces in between them. And obviously when you just type in dash, you're gonna have your specific gap like amount too. So I'm gonna do is cut it off too and type in, let's say 20, hit on Enter. And you can see this will basically how it will look like. You can also change the gap individually too. But if you want to change the gap individually, then you will be able, or like you will have to use this gap tool. Remove it. Let's say I'm gonna type in 2, hit on Enter. Then you can see this is dense. I'm gonna do is type in 10, hit on Enter. You can also, let's say I'm gonna do this from over here, type in 30, hit on Enter. You can see the gaps are now changing. And another thing is that I'm gonna do is first off keep it to 100, hit on Enter. Now you can see that we have this option over here, which is like crossover. What you have to do is let's type in 30, or you can type in whichever one you want. So let's say I'm gonna type in 1. You can see the changes over here, and from over here I'm gonna type the gap to be 4. Okay, now you can see that each and every lines will have the specific amount of, let's say, the distance. So this is basically how the size, dash, and gap works in border and also strokes. And if you want more strokes, what you can do is apply, and let's say 50, hit on Enter. You can also go over here, let's say type in 5, hit on Enter. I'm gonna do is type in to be, let's say 3. Now you have strokes. Okay, so this is basically how it works. And if you want to like apply more, I'm gonna do is keep the dash, or like keep the gap, or lessen it up. Let's say 10, hit on Enter. Now you have your strokes. Okay, so like in other softwares, you have like a different and individual tool of strokes, but here you will be able to make your strokes however you want. If you want to add in your content, just click on this text tool, write on it. I'm gonna do this This is an example. Okay, what I'm gonna do is obviously increase the size. You can use this too. What I'm gonna do is increase the size. Let's go down, and here I'm gonna type in 60, hit on enter. I'm gonna click on this move tool. I'm gonna just keep it over here. You can see this is perfectly aligned. Now what I can do is, obviously, if you have filled color, then obviously you'll have to like take it above over here like this. You can see over here, now it is like, you know, hidden. But it's not hidden, but it's just basically underneath it. So I'm gonna do is keep it underneath, and then you will have it like this. Okay, you will be able to apply it to something like this. But if you take it underneath too, it will be underneath the rectangle. Okay, so you have to like keep all of these things in mind, and also then edit it however you want. So the next thing we're going to learn about is going to be how the corners look like. We have our inner stroke, we have is our outer stroke, then we also have center stroke. Let me just zoom in. I'm going to press on my item, I'm going to press on Control 3, and I have my zoomed, like say, zoomed view. Click on this item. Now what I'm going to do is going to be going down, and we have our inner stroke. Now I'm going to do is click on outer stroke. You can see that it has moved a bit outside. So when I click on, or let's say move, like remove all these values, you will see that it will be outside of the border. Let me just type in over here. I'm going to click on this border. Let me just click on it, but here what I'm going to do is remove all of this. Let's say I'm going to do is remove it. 0, hit on enter. 0, hit on enter. 0. And the next thing I'm going to do is click on this outer stroke. Now you can see this has moved a bit outside. When you try to use center stroke, it will move a bit inside. Okay, which is in between center and also inner. Okay, well, this is basically not that easy to see, so I'm going to do is zoom in a bit more. Let me just type in this. You can see this is moved up in a bit, moved a bit outside, and if you want center, it will be a bit in the center. Okay, so this is basically how the inner stroke, outer stroke, and also center stroke works. Then we have is our butt cap. So I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to do is zoom out a bit more. I'm going to do is make, let's say, pointy corners. Now I'm going to do is zoom in a bit more. And let's say I have it like this. I'm going to do is keep the dash to be, let's say, 4, hit on enter. Now as I have it to before, now I'll be able to keep the butt caps. Now you can see that all of them has pointy corners. But if you want rounded corners too, I'm going to type in this or click on it, and you have rounded corners. You can also use this one, which is going to be a bit, you know, let's say the height or the length of it is a bit, you know, higher or a bit bigger than normal ones. You can see it like this, normal, and you can see this is like totally rectangle. What you get is like square of it, and when you click on it, you get a rectangle. So this is basically the difference, okay? Well, when you use this, you obviously have like less distance between each and every one of them. So now you know how this actually it works. You can also zoom in and out by pressing on your Alt and your plus and minus key, or which is Control, plus and minus. Okay, you can also move in an object, clicking on it and pressing on your left and right key on your keyboard. You can see this is moving a bit like right. When I press on my left arrow key, it is moving a bit left. Okay, now you know how you will be able to adjust all the things by using, let's say, Adobe XD, and also fixing in your strokes. Then we also have this option of like meter joint, we have round joint, and also bevel joint. Let me zoom in a bit more again and give you the example. I'm going to click on this option, and we have this pointy corners. I'm going to click on this round joints. You'll find out that it will have round joints on at the end. But it's most of the time visible on, let's say, text. So I'm going to go over like at the top, select on this tool, and I'm going to click on this text option. And I'm going to do is go down and obviously have some borders. And here I'm going to do is select on it and have it like this. When you zoom in, you will find out that there is a bit round, okay, like at the corner. But if you select on this pointy, you will find out that that is pointy. And if you wanted like a bit cut, you will find it to be a bit cut on each and every corners. Even though if the texts are like very small, it will not be basically very visible. But sometimes when you're using, let's say, a larger content, or let's say a larger text or a larger object, then you will find a difference on each and every one. Okay, but the thing is that you won't be able to fix the length, height, width of each and every one of them individually. So that is basically the difference. Okay, then let's say I'm gonna do is use in my line tools so that I can apply a bit more. So I'm gonna do is click on over here and add in this content over here. And you can see that I have my corner. And I'm gonna do is, if you want to, like, let's say, make it a bit thick too. So I'm gonna click on this line, okay? Which we have is this line, path 1. And I'm gonna do is click on my border. Let's say I'm gonna type in 9, hit on enter. You can see the thickness is increasing. I'm gonna click on this tool again, click on it. Now I'm gonna do is press on this, Control C, Control V again. Then we have 2 of these lines. Now I can like change it. Then I'm gonna do zoom out, select on it, and then I'll be able to like rotate it however I want. Let's say I'm gonna keep it like this. What I'm gonna do is keep it over here. Click on this tool, Control T. You'll be able to change it to however you want. Click on this tool. Now as I've applied it, you can also like use this tool so that you can like obviously press it or like place it wherever you want. Let's say I'm going to click on this tool. I'm going to do is decrease the size and place it wherever I want. Now what I want is all of these objects to be like, let's say, above it. And you can see how it looks like. I'm going to press on this path and keep it underneath. Not on side, like keep it like this. I'm going to do is keep the ellipse to be over here. Now we have is our specific result and how it basically looks like. Not underneath the rectangle though. I'm going to just keep it underneath. I'm going to click on this tool. Keep it above, okay? So this is basically how it works. Okay, I'm going to click on this tool again. And I'm going to right click on it. What I'm going to do is obviously right click and send it backwards. Backwards, send to back. If it doesn't work, send to back again. Then you will basically get the result of how it actually works. Keep it over here. What I'm going to do is keep the ellipse, okay, underneath each and every one. I'm going to click on this tool and right click. I'm going to do is right click on it. Send it backwards. And you can see that it has been applied. Now the next thing we can do is obviously click on each and every one and group them up all together. Right click on it. What I'm going to do is group them all together, and now we have our object over here, which will specifically look like this. Okay, this is basically how it works. And let's say I'm going to do is make up a menu bar. I'm going to click on this lines. I'm going to do is, first off, I'm going to do is keep it over here. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. Let's say I'm going to keep it like this. Now I'm going to do is fix out my border. Let's say I'm going to type in 9, hit on enter. And I'm going to do is copy it up, press on Alt. But first off, I'm going to click on this Alt. We have our result. We have it like this. I'm going to do is select on each and every one. I'm going to press on this. 1, 2, 3. Group them all together first. Then I'm going to do is go down, go over to my borders. Let's say I'm going to type in 12, hit on enter. Now I'm going to do is make them to be rounded. And then you have like a menu type. I'm going to do is press on this. Press on this, okay? You can see how it actually looks like. You can move it up wherever you want. If you want to like press or like paste it wherever you want. Let's say I'm going to do is keep it up over here. Just rotate it a bit. It's going to be 0 degrees. And if you want to like make more changes on it, you can apply that too. So this is basically how it works with strokes. And then we also have like, you know, copying, appearance, and also pasting it however you want. Okay. So hope you understood everything about this lesson on using strokes, lines and also all the modification you can do about changing the appearance of your objects in Adobe XD and also UI and UX. So let's move on to our next lesson.